Fairhaven Acushnet Cablevision presents a Cable 2 Sports exclusive. From Municipal Stadium in Dartmouth, it's the Thanksgiving Day matchup between the Fairhaven Blue Devils and the Dartmouth Indians. Just a picture-perfect day for high school football across the state. Bright blue skies, temperatures in the mid-40s, and the playing surface in absolutely fantastic shape. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Roberts. Joining me for today's broadcast, my colleague Keith Tebow. And Keith, the Blue Devils and the Indians meeting once again, the annual Thanksgiving Day matchup. Last year at the stadium in Fairhaven, it was the Blue Devils coming away with a 25-20 victory. The first time head coach Dana Almeida has defeated Kyle Lynch in his tenure at Fairhaven High.
And it was a big game, of course, for a fantastic season for Fairhaven last year, ending up 9-1, just missing out on the Super Bowl. This year, of course, we've got a transition for Fairhaven. Dartmouth, they've been steady over the years, and the same thing this year at 6-3.
Talk about some of the key personnel in today's ball game. Who are some of the players that are going to have a direct impact on the outcome of today's game?
Well, the keys for today's game is that both teams run wishbone offenses. They'll both have the wishbone in effect. Of course, Fairhaven will be led by quarterback Tim Davignon. He'll be wearing number 14 today in the white jersey. Also in the backfield, Chris Langlois will be there, and he's been a key all year long. On the other side of the field, Dartmouth will be led by number 17, John Berkness, who's been their quarterback all year long, running the wishbone as well with Shane Dakin and Matt Ridden. So you're going to see just some bang-em football today up the middle and mainly running all day long.
Today's game signifies the finale of high school football for a lot of players. Some are going to be fortunate enough to go on and participate at the collegiate level, but for many, this is going to be their last time in which they suited up and play organized high school football. It's going to be a special day for all the seniors.
Yeah, and it is. And even when players make it in college, they always look back at their high school years as the most cherished years in football. Even if some of them make it into the pro ranks, you can talk to some of the pro players today and they'll say, well, I remember when I was in such and such a high school, that was the best. And that's what today's all about, Thanksgiving Day especially.
A very special day and a happy Thanksgiving to all of you. We'll be back with the opening kickoff from Municipal Stadium in Dartmouth right after these messages.
Wiser that all the interesting guys are always married.
I don't think having dinner with anybody's a crime.
Not yet. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. I'll tell your wife.
Tell my wife. I'll kill you.
Do you have an affair with her?
Yes.
You won't answer my calls. You changed your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored.
Michael Douglas, Glenn Close, Ann Archer, Fatal Attraction, only on Showtime.
Toss of the coin, the Fairhaven Blue Devils won the toss. They have elected to receive, and they will be defending the south goal. The Dartmouth Indians will be kicking at the outset here and defending the north goal. And the officials for today's ball game, the referee Arthur Silveria, the umpire James Sullivan, the head linesman will be Steve Cataray, the field judge William Firmino, and operating the clock will be John Remillard.
I would also like to welcome all the viewers in the Fall River, New Bedford, and here in Dartmouth area. You'll be watching us this evening on Whaling City Cable Television, and we'd like to welcome you along, and hopefully we'll have a very enjoyable game for you as well.
And we'd like to take this time out here at Cable 2 to wish each and every one a very happy and safe Thanksgiving Day weekend. Hope you've enjoyed all the turkey and the fixings, and now time to sit back and watch some enjoyable high school football. A beautiful day for football. Temperatures in the mid-40s, wind blowing from the north at about 15 miles per hour. And once again, another outstanding crowd on hand, Keith, and anytime you Dartmouth Indians and the Fairhaven Blue Devils tee it up on Thanksgiving, always a great turnout.
It's always a great turnout for all the Thanksgiving Day matchups. This is where your true football fans come out. They don't see a game all year, but they come out for Thanksgiving, and I guess that's what it's really all about.
Doing the kicking for the Dartmouth Indians will be number 82, Tim Bradford. And we are underway here at Municipal Stadium. Lee Guillot fields the ball at the 8. Heads upfield before he is brought down by a host of Dartmouth tacklers led by number 64, Andy Wheaton. And Fairhaven will start out deep in their own territory to begin here their first offensive possession of the afternoon. Setting up the Fairhaven Blue Devils offensively, they'll go with number 14, Tim DeVignan at quarterback. The backfield, the fullback, number 34, Lee Gia. The halfbacks, number 21, Sean Malafi. Number 1, Damon Desjardins. The tight end will be John Mills. Offensive line, a good one, 55, Matt Hendricks. The guards, Leo Pacheco and Aaron Ferland. The tackles, Rocky Costa and Randy Early. The Blue Devils come out first and 10. Malafi is out on a wing to the right. The first handoff of the day goes inside to number 34, Lee Giat. A pickup of about 2 yards on the play. Fairhaven will be facing 2nd and 9. And at least early on, Keith, Fairhaven going with number 34, Lee Giat at fullback. That is due to an illness that Chris Langlois suffered through the early part of the week, was unable to practice, so he will not start today's ball game.
Well, I think what Coach Almeida is going to try to do is just bang it up the middle to see how they can test that defensive line, that big defensive line of Dartmouth.
Nelson Willett is split out wide to the left. The option, and DeVignan is going to be wrapped up in the backfield for a loss of about 5 yards on the play. That time an outstanding surge by the defensive front led by number 78, Brian Zaliga, and number 48, Peter Crane. A loss of about 6 yards on the play, so Fairhaven will be facing a 3rd and 17 from their own 11.
That was just a great play by the defensive line for Dartmouth. They contained the middle and broke through the offensive line led by Crane and Staliga. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Blue Devils.
Setting up the Indians defensively, they'll play out of the 5-2. The ends, Peter Crane, Jamie Dutra. The tackles, Brian Zaliga, Andy Simpson, and the nose will be Sean McGuire. 3rd and 7, and I believe we're going to have an illegal motion, so the Fairhaven Blue Devils moving backwards on their first offensive possession.
Actually, that was called delay of game, but that was pretty quick, 30 seconds on the part of the officials. But it'll just move the Fairhaven Blue Devils 5 yards further back, and it'll be a 3rd and a country mile, as they say.
Penalized half the distance to the goal line. The Blue Devils will have the ball on their own 6-yard line, and should they be stopped here, the Blue Devils will be forced to kick into a pretty stiff breeze, so the Indians should come away with good field position. Sean Malafi is out on a wing to the right. DeVignan with a long count. He rolls out to the right. He's looking downfield. He's got room to run. He's going to tuck it up. He's going to pick up about 10 yards on the play, but he's going to be brought down by a host of Dartmouth Indian tacklers. In on the play, number 44, Rick Barry. A pickup of 10 yards, but Fairhaven Blue Devils will be forced to kick the football away.
Just a couple of mental mistakes there on the part of the Blue Devils on that drive. Of course, the 5-yard penalty, and the offensive line lapsing just a bit. We'll see what Dartmouth can do. They should come out with some very good field position here.
6 men up on the line. DeVignan kicking into a stiff breeze, and Mark Silvel, he's going to let the ball bounce in a good Fairhaven roll. Just shy of midfield, so a 32-yard punt, and the Dartmouth Indians will take over 7 minutes and 43 seconds here in the first quarter. Fairhaven stalls on their first offensive possession.
Now it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Almeida can do with his defense here. The defense all week long during practice works against a wishbone, and of course Dartmouth has the wishbone. They worked well against Bourne when we did the Bourne game. When Bourne also had the wishbone, they did well against that kind of an offense. Let's see how they can handle the Indian offense here this morning.
36, Steve Roberge at the top of your screen. Dartmouth in the wishbone. Matt Reardon, the fullback. The halfbacks will be Civil and Crane. And the inside handoff to the first man through, number 23, Matt Reardon, testing the middle of the Fairhaven defense. A pickup of about 1 yard on the play. The Indians will be facing a 2nd and 9 offensively. Berkness at quarterback. In this backfield, 23, Matt Reardon. The halfbacks, number 12, Mark Civil, number 19, Shane Dakin. The tight end will be number 82, Tim Bradford. The wideouts today, Steve Roberge and Chris Morris will see action. The offensive line, a good one. Glazier at center, Wheaton and McGuire the guards, Zaliga and Simpson at tackles. The option being strung out beautifully. Lee Giat, as that time Berkness had absolutely nowhere to go. A good surge by the outside linebacker, number 34, Lee Giat. A loss of 6 yards on the play. The Indians will be facing 3rd and 15, and an inspired Fairhaven defense at the outset.
Great anticipation on the defense of the Blue Devils. They stayed with the ball, which is what they should always do. They stayed with the ball well there and caught Berkness behind the line for a loss of 5. That'll be 3rd and long now for the Indians.
Third down, and we'll call it 15. The ball at the Dartmouth 45. Steve Roberge is split out wide to the right, and number 12, Mark Silva, goes in motion. Berkness rolls out, looks, and he's got his receiver all alone, number 19, Shane Dakin, and he's going to be long gone and hard to find. 55 yards and a touchdown. So the Fairhaven defense stymieing the Dartmouth offense for the first two plays, but Berkness with a quick hitter to number 19 for the Dartmouth Indians. Shane Dakin, 55 yards, and the Indians are on the board.
Beautiful cut through the middle by Dakin. He was wide open through the zone defense on the part of the Blue Devils, and he just had plenty of blockers in front of him coming down the right side of the field. Just went all the way untouched for the 55-yard touchdown, and it's Dartmouth early, as was expected. Dartmouth is favored between 10 and 20 points with what you read in the newspaper, and they've got on the board first.
Bradford normally goes for the 1 point, but head coach Carl Lynch opting to go for 2. Option right side, and it is successful. Berkness on the option to the right side. So with 6:22 remaining, head coach Carl Lynch goes for the 2, gets it, and the Indians are on the board. They lead 8-0.
Well, I think a good part that Coach Almeida can see out of this drive was they contained the wishbone, which is Dartmouth's main power of offense. They contained the wishbone for 2 downs. Matter of fact, forced Berkness to lose 5 yards, but then Berkness there just had his man open down the middle and Dakin, and he just beat the defense down the field, and it's a quick 8-0 score for the Indians.
An outstanding job also of pass protecting by the Dartmouth offensive line, receiving good blocks from the right side. Andy Wheaton, 64, Brian Zaliga, 78, that time with a little play action on a roll to the right side, and Dakin was all alone in between the Fairhaven zone defense. Fairhaven expecting pass, but just a perfect pass, perfectly executed, and the Indians are on the board.
And for the official word, it was a three-play drive, 55 yards, and took off 1 minute and 21 seconds off the clock. And with 6:22 to go, Fairhaven looked like to come back here and score quickly.
And it seemed that the Fairhaven defense beginning to find themselves a little bit, at least on the first 2 plays, stopping the Dartmouth vaunted wishbone attack. But Berkness, probably the premier option quarterback in the area, along with Brady, but he has an ability. He's got a strong arm. He can throw it, and he's in the realm of Mark Cadero. The kick downfield, and it will be number 34, Lee Guillot, who takes it before he's going to be hit by a host of Dartmouth tacklers. In on the play, number 22, Jeff Aruda. So the Fairhaven Blue Devils will commence their second drive here this morning. The ball at the 30-yard line. 6:17 remaining, opening quarter.
And it'll be interesting to see what Coach Almeida does with his wishbone in this set. They were testing through the first drive up the middle, and then on 3rd and long, they sent Davignon out wide. And that seemed to work, the wide out. Let's see if Coach Almeida goes wide once again or tries to use his offensive line to open up holes in the middle.
Chris Langlois at 6 feet, 205 pounds, the fullback and Davignon rolling right. He's going to be chased and finally tripped up by number 48, Peter Crane, at 6'2", 180 pounds, and a junior. That time, Davignon with a little play action rolling to the right side, but the pursuit of the Dartmouth defense able to catch Davignon by his shoe tops to bring him down for a loss.
And Dartmouth did what Fairhaven did earlier. They stayed with the ball, kept their eye on the ball and with the person with the ball instead of watching some feet, and sometimes that can get you crossed up. But the Indians, good pursuit on that play, and sent Berkness down for about a 7-yard loss. And quickly, it's 2nd and long for the Blue Devils.
The Fairhaven offense moving backwards here in the first quarter. Davignon with a long count, this time inside handoff to Langlois. There's a fumble. The Indians have recovered. There is a penalty flag, but I believe the Blue Devils are going to get hit with a motion penalty. I think number 18, Chris Langlois, jumped the gun. We're going to have to wait and see. It is indeed a motion penalty on the Blue Devils. The Indians will decline the penalty, so the first turnover of this morning's game, and with 5:28 remaining, Dartmouth already has 8 on the board. You just can't give the Indians good field position this early.
And Coach Almeida said before the Seekonk game, he says and also before this game, if we can be error-free, we've got a chance. And early, giving up the ball deep in their own territory is not going to help their cause one bit.
Ball is on the left hash. Resting at the Fairhaven 29-yard line, Steve Roberge is split wide out to the left. This time just a quarterback belly, and it's Berkness with room, and he's going to be brought down at about the 12-yard line. A design play following the fullback into the middle of the line. That time a pickup of about 17 yards. A good call by head coach Colin Lynch.
And when you've got men on your offensive line that average 6 feet tall and 210 pounds, you've got the weight to move the opposing defensive line. That's exactly what they did. And there'll be a timeout here on the part of Fairhaven.
Head coach Dana Almeida a little bit upset with his defensive troops. That time seemingly a gaping hole. Not quite sure whether it was a missed assignment, but head coach Dana Almeida trying to rectify the problem right now, talking with defensive coordinator Phil Harding and all 11 Fairhaven Blue Devil defenders huddled around the head coach in his 6th year, and last year hadn't chance for the first time to taste victory at the stadium in Fairhaven over Colin Lynch, a Fairhaven Blue Devil squad that finished the regular season at 9-1, ranked 3rd in the state in Division 4, and just percentage points away from making that journey to Boston University that first Saturday in December, the Super Bowl.
And the thing is about a team, what a difference a year makes. As we said earlier in the opening of the game, Fairhaven 2-7 this year, definitely a rebuilding year, but they have some talent, as I said earlier, and they'll be back next year, and they'll have a contending team, I believe, next year, and of course the year after that.
Fairhaven losing only 13 seniors to graduation. Last year, 27 seniors lost due to graduation. Split out wide to the left, number 11, Chris Morris. Ball is in the center of the field. Hand off to number 12, and that's going to be Civil, and he's going to barrel his way all the way down to the 5-yard line. There is a penalty flag on the far side of the field. I believe Dartmouth, the Indians, might get hit with a motion penalty. Nope, check that. I believe it was the Blue Devils that lined up in the neutral zone, so 1 for 1 making the calls early.
And again, the errors are already piling up on the Blue Devils, something Coach Almeida cannot afford, especially against an explosive team like the Dartmouth Indians. So now it's going to be 2nd down and 3, I believe, for the Indians, and they're in striking distance once again, and we haven't even played half of the first quarter.
5 minutes, 13 seconds. The clock is moving. The Indians have the ball at the Fairhaven 5-yard line. Morris is split out wide to the right. This time a straight ahead blast to number 12. Civil, he's going to go in for a touchdown. No disguise, going behind the right side of the offensive line, receiving good blocks by number 82, Tim Bradford, number 64, Andy Wheaton, and number 78, Brian Zaliga. The Indians with 14 quick points, and we're only halfway through the first quarter.
And if you go at this clip, we'll have close to 60 points when the game's over, but I'm sure that Coach Almeida has to be disappointed. His defense letting down, causing the little mistakes, and it cost them here early with 2 touchdowns.
Something head coach Dana Almeida did not want to do is fall behind to the Indians early. 2 tight ends, and the pass is going to be complete to number 82, Tim Bradford. So the Indians successful on their second 2-point conversion, and the Dartmouth High School band in the background begins their serenade. So with 4 minutes and 57 seconds remaining, opening quarter from Municipal Stadium in Dartmouth, our score, the Indians 16 and the Fairhaven Blue Devils nothing. Dartmouth Indians taking advantage of a Fairhaven turnover and converting it into 8 points.
Yeah, Fairhaven had the ball 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line, and after a sack on the part of Davinian, they fumbled the ball. Langlois coughed up the ball on the 29, and then 3 plays later, Mock Civil from the 5-yard line, 5-yard touchdown run. The 2-point conversion was complete to Bradford, and now it's a 16-0 score on the part of the Indians. That drive took only a little over a minute and a half off the clock.
That was Civil's 6th touchdown of the season. Dakin scored his 5th earlier. Guillot, once again, about 8 or 9 green jerseys around the football. Fairhaven will start deep in their own territory with the ball at their own 24-yard line. 4 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. Thanksgiving morning. Upon all the traditional high school matchups across the state, Barnstable and Falmouth, their 100th anniversary down on Cape Cod. Also, A game that it will be seen on Channel 13 in New Bedford and Fall River area. The Durfee High School Hilltoppers going against the New Bedford Whalers. Two tight ends in on offense for the Fairhaven Blue Devils. DeVignan with the long count. Inside handoff to number 1, Damon Desjardins. In on the play, number 78, Brian Saliga, saying, "How you doing, young man?"
Yeah, and the Dartmouth defensive line is just so big, and they're just dominating the offensive line for the Blue Devils. Coach Almeida is going to have to try some mixing up, maybe try some pass plays early on to try to just see if he can confuse the Dartmouth Indian defense in any way he can.
Number 19, Jay Charbonneau, was split out wide to the right. Fairhaven in the bone. DeVignan with a pitch, and this is Malamphy around the left side. He's going to be brought down out of bounds at about the 29-yard line. In on the tackle for the Dartmouth Indians, number 22, Jeff Arruda. So once again, the Fairhaven Blue Devils will be facing third down and about 6.
Better situation than they've been in their first 2 drives. They were second down and I believe 15 and third down and 17. So Coach Almeida will be looking to just right now get the first down, continue the drive, and try to put something together. Still plenty of time to go in the game. First quarter is just about 3 minutes and 42 seconds away from completion. But when you're down 16 points, you just want to try to get something positive out of your offense.
The Dartmouth High School Indians haven't scored fewer than 20 points in the last 6 years in this series, and at least at the outset, seems like they're going to score a lot more than 20. DeVignan with a rollout, and he's going to find number 31, Nelson Willett. On a completion, he's going to be brought down out of bounds at the 39-yard line. The first down of the afternoon for the Blue Devils, and it was DeVignan out of the pocket, the quarterback who concerns head coach Kyle Lynch with his scrambling ability. That time, Nelson Willett doing a fine job to coming back to the football.
Yeah, that was a great job by Willett. He saw that DeVignan was in trouble, scrambling away from the Indian defense, so he came back to make it a little bit easier for DeVignan to get him the pass, and he was still plenty of time and plenty of yards for the first down.
Number 19, Jay Charbonneau, split out wide to the right. Damon Desjardins in a slot. DeVignan with the option, and this time he is going to be just hogtied at about the 35-yard line. Number 48, Peter Crane, we've called his name a few times here this morning. The Indians just reading the Fairhaven option extremely well.
And of course, the Indians also during the week, they practice against the wishbone themselves. So the defenses are aware of what the other team's offense will do because they practice against it all week long. And again, the Dartmouth Indians just staying with the ball, staying in pursuit, and that time we're not tricked at all by what DeVignan was trying to do.
Fairhaven not successful on first down attempts thus far. They've lost on every offensive series. DeVignan with the play action, and he's got Pierce wide open downfield. He's going to wait, and he's going to throw, and Pierce turned around, and DeVignan overthrew him. That time a designed play action roll, looking for number 25, Kevin Pierce, but as he saw DeVignan in trouble, Pierce came back to the football. DeVignan thinking that Pierce was going to head back, and we have a penalty flag down, and I believe the Blue Devils are going to be hit with an ineligible man downfield.
Yeah, I think one of the linemen anticipated the play a little bit too early and just ran down the field before DeVignan had a chance to put the ball down there and just went past the 5 yards or 10 yards that is allowed for a defensive lineman to block until the pass is gone off, and the Indians will decline a penalty and make it third down and long for the Blue Devils. And once again, they're going to be looking just to get the first down, keep the drive going, and trying to put some positive aspects on the board and hopefully keep their defense off the field.
Something that has plagued the Blue Devils this year is their penalty in critical times, turnovers. Right now, head coach Dana Almeida giving referee Arthur Silverian an earful saying, "That's awful." Apparently, he didn't see it that way. DeVignan going deep. He's looking for 31. Nelson Willett, he hangs it up, and the pass is going to be incomplete. A good job defending for the Indians. Number 21, Kyle Sullivan, at 5'8", 145 pounds and a senior, had man-to-man coverage. DeVignan aired it out, but a good job by Sullivan to break it up.
That was a good play. The ball was there for Willett. He just overran it just a bit. It was a perfect timing play by DeVignan. He had no one else open downfield, and luckily it was incomplete, and Blue Devils will have to punt once again.
DeVignan with the high kick. Nice kick. And Civil at the 19-yard line. Everybody thought it was going to be a fair catch. And the Fairhaven defense, number 21, the special team, Sean Malamphy. Kind of a strange play is number 19 for the Dartmouth Indians, Shane Dakin, who had about 5 white shirts around him, didn't signal for a fair catch, and I think the Blue Devils were kind of surprised, figuring that he was going to call for a fair catch, but actually he didn't.
And the Blue Devils were right there waiting for him and said, oh, he's going to take a fair catch. I don't want to touch him. That'd be a penalty. And then Dakin said, I didn't call for it, turned around and tried to make some yards, but the Blue Devils were right there for the tackle.
Indians have the football, 1st and 10, the ball at their own 30. They lead 16-0. And Berkness following his fullback over the right side. In on the play for the Blue Devils, number 21, Sean Malamphy. Number 18, Chris Langlois. A pickup of about 2 yards on the play. The Indians facing a 2nd and 8.
And as a whole, the Blue Devils have been doing a job against the Wishbone. They were just burned on 2 big plays in this game so far. That was the 55-yard pass to Dakin. And then when the Dartmouth Indians began their second drive, was the quarterback sneak on the part of Berkness. Other than that, they've controlled the defense of the offense of Dartmouth very well.
Roberge split out wide to the left. That time, Berkness going on a long snap count, but it was number 58 on the Dartmouth offense, Jeff Glazier, I believe, that jumped the gun. It was either Glazier or his offensive right guard, Andy Wheaton. Nonetheless, Berkness trying to draw the Blue Devil defense offside, and he ended up making one of his offensive linemen move prematurely.
Well, this is Thanksgiving Day, of course. It's a very exciting day for both teams. They want to try to do the best they can, and the offensive lineman just jumped the gun a bit, and that's understandable on a day like today.
Looked like he was jumping for that Thanksgiving meal. 2nd down and 13, option to the right side, and once again the Fairhaven defense doing a great job at stringing it out. Number 75, Leo Pacheco. Also number 21, Sean Malamphy, and at least early on, Keith, the Fairhaven defensive unit doing a great job at stopping the run, but not the pass.
Exactly. Like I said, it was just 2 big plays that have killed the Blue Devils early. They've controlled the Wishbone well, and again, they pursued well. They stayed with the ball and did what they have to do, and with under a minute to go, the defense has been doing its job, but they're 16 points behind.
Third down, and we'll call it 18. Fairhaven in a cover 3. Berkness on a design roll, all alone over the middle. The pass intended for number 12, Mark Civil, goes incomplete, so the Fairhaven defense should get the ball back in good field position. 40 seconds remaining, opening quarter. The Blue Devils trail by 16.
That play by the Indians was the exact same play they ran earlier with Dakin going from left to right. This time they had Civil going from right to left. Exact same play. He was wide open up the middle, and he had the blockers there as well. Just couldn't get the ball there to him, and luckily it'll be 4th down, and now 4th down, and the Blue Devils will get good field position.
Number 20, Mike Freight's back to punt for the Dartmouth Indians. Low line drive. Should get a good Indian bounce over midfield, and the ball's going to roll dead finally at about the 44-yard line. So a 36-yard kick by Freight's, no return, and the Fairhaven Blue Devils will take over at their own 44-yard line. 27 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. The Indians with 2 touchdowns, one on a 55-yard pass from Berkness to Dakin, and the other a 5-yard touchdown run by Civil, and the Indians up by 16.
And the Blue Devil coaches are giving a hand to all the defensive players who are not also on offense, saying good job, well done. Get some confidence back into the team. They moved the ball well that last drive, getting a 1st down. Let's see if they continue it here.
Fairhaven going with 2 splits. Number 19, Charbonneau, wide to the right. Inside handoff goes to the fullback, number 18, Chris Langlois. Pickup of about 1 yard on the play. The Blue Devils will be facing a 2nd time and 9, and that time head coach Dana Almeida with a couple of splits, put one of his halfbacks in a wing, trying to spread out the Indian defense.
That's what he has to try to do something different to try to confuse the Indian defense, and that play straight up the middle, inside handoff, and that'll be the last play of quarter number 1.
Very happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you in Fairhaven and Acushnet, also those viewing in New Bedford and Fall River. We've come to the end of 1 quarter here at the Municipal Stadium in Dartmouth, and our score, the Dartmouth Indians 16, the Fairhaven Blue Devils nothing. 2nd quarter action coming up, but first, these messages.
You know, tongue-tied.
It's tough, like when you're cold, you know.
You can't move your lips.
Yeah.
They can't, like I said, they're doing a good job. They just take a burn on 2 big plays.
That's what we'll talk about at the outset. First quarter characterized.
All right, ML will go back on the air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chris Roberts here, along with Keith Tebow, Municipal Stadium in Dartmouth, the site of this year's Thanksgiving Day matchup between the Blue Devils and the Indians. Dartmouth with 2 touchdowns and the big play in the first quarter for the Indians, and that's the reason they have a 16-point advantage.
2 big plays, actually. One of them, of course, the 55-yard pass from Berkness to Shane Dakin up the middle for 1 score, and then a quarterback sneak by Berkness to pick up over 20 yards close into Fairhaven territory on their second scoring drive.
DeVignan rolling out. Pass is complete. Number 19, Jay Charbonneau with the reception. A pickup of about 6 yards on the play, so the Blue Devils will be facing a 3rd down and 3 in Fairhaven.
A little bit closer. They're down by 16, just beginning quarter number 2.
It's imperative that the Blue Devils maintain this drive in order to get back into the ball game. DeVignan rolling out. He's going to fire it, and that pass is going to be intercepted by number 56, Sean Raposa, the senior linebacker at 5'10", 170 pounds. And that time for the Indians, number 33, Jamie Dutra, coming on a blitz, forced DeVignan to get rid of the football. The penalty will be on the Fairhaven Blue Devils for illegal procedure, so the second turnover of the ball game, and it's the Indians that have the ball in excellent field position. They will start this drive at their own 47-yard line.
And every time this year when the Blue Devils made a number of errors, either through penalties or through turnovers, it's cost them all year long, and it's cost them so far today. And once again, their second turnover of the game. You can't let a team like Dartmouth have the ball over a turnover. You've got to let them earn the ball through punts or after kickoffs, hopefully from touchdowns. But the Indians have the ball once again, 1st and 10.
Handoff to the second back through, number 19, Dakin. He's going to barrel his way over the left side of his offensive line for a big pickup on 1st down. The referee's finally going to rule Dakin out of bounds at about the 45-yard line, so an 8-yard pickup on 1st down, and the Indians going behind the left side of their offensive line, 66, Sean McGuire, and 71, Andy Simpson.
The big line, again, over 200 pounds. Their average. Staliga looks like he's pushing 250 from here. He's a big boy. And they just go behind those big linemen who can just drive these smaller Fairhaven defenders to the ground and pick up big yardage.
Inside handoff to number 23, the fullback, Matt Reardon. Picked up about 1 yard on the play, but the Indians, I believe, will be held about a half a yard to a full yard short. Coach Colin Lynch undoubtedly in 2-down territory, but at least the inside rushing attack for the Indians not clicking, and you have to give a lot of that success basically to the inside of the Fairhaven defense.
And with 2-down territory here, I expect Coach Lynch to call for another pass play up the middle as worked before. If not, he's still got a 4th and short.
3rd down and 1. This time over the right side of the offensive line, number 12, Mark Sybil, a straight blast that time with the play side halfback and the fullback leading. Pickup of 5 yards and a 1st down.
That's why I'll never be a coach. I called for the pass play there and it didn't work, but they still got the 1st down through the middle. And once again, Dartmouth just doing running plays at will up the middle, getting big yardage, and Fairhaven defense been out on the field for most of the game. I would say out of the first 12 minutes play, they've been out there for at least 7.
1st down and 10, a ball just inside the 40-yard line. A handoff to the second back through, number 19, Shane Dakin. Able to pick up about 2 yards on the play, and once again, the Fairhaven defense stopping the Indian rushing attack between the tackles.
And just a good job there by the defense of Fairhaven. They've been able to contain the middle at times. I guess if they're just a little bit quicker, getting off the line a little bit quicker than the Indians at times and closing up the middle. But right now it's just been domination on the part of the Indian offensive line.
Berkness going to run the option. This time he's going to pitch, and the ball is going to be bobbled by Sybil, but he's going backwards, and he's finally going to be brought down. In on the play, number 21, Sean Malamphy. The Fairhaven Blue Devils stringing out the Indian Wishbone. A loss of about 10 yards on the play, so the Indians will be facing 3rd down and about 18 with the ball resting at the Fairhaven 47-yard line.
Berkness pressured well by the Fairhaven defense. Got the ball off, just threw it a little bit too low. He was ready to go down. I'm surprised the referees didn't call in the grasp call there, but threw it a little low to Civil. He just couldn't contain himself and was thrown for a big loss.
Passing situation on third down. This time they're going to run. They're going to run a wing reverse, and it's number 45 for the Dartmouth Indians with a big pickup on the play, and that is going to be Todd Thatcher at 5'8", 140 pounds and a junior. They had Thatcher lined up on a wing to the right. He ran opposite.